pornography will make you a simp. How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. I haven't done one of these styles in a very, very long time. Some of you may know my old channel. I might put a link in the description to that. I did a lot of these talks when I discussed manhood, when I discussed my journey when it comes to this kind of thing. And I wanted to do one today. You know, I'm walking in nature. You see, I'm in nature, barefooted, of course, doing my grounding. And I wanted to talk because I was inspired actually by a post on Instagram by some guy. I think he's a health dude, and he talked about something similar, and it made me think about my own situation and how I feel like people in my situation may be able to relate. So why do I say this? I would say for me, it made me more of a simp. Pornography and masturbation made me more of a simp. But for you to understand that, I think it's best if we talk about a little bit about myself in terms of how I grew up and what shaped me. I'll try and keep this brief, guys. So, like, obviously, you know, growing up as a boy, I think most of us have this kind of masculine energy in us, you know. I might sit down for a little bit, actually. Most of us have this kind of masculine energy, and we, as you know, young boys, we've got this testosterone. We want to climb things, play football, run. I was athletic, so in school that obviously helped me to blend in with the boys. And you have this masculine energy as a little boy. You know, you're aggressive as a kid and all this kind of stuff. And I think at some point, for some of us, that gets diluted by so many different things. And we're going to go into that for me. So I would say I've always been close to my mum. And whilst that shouldn't be a negative thing, for me, it ended up being something that, well, I would say I didn't get the balance that I needed. And that's point number one. When we don't have strong fathers in the home, or I would say fathers that are intentional about raising men. You know, I had a good father. I had a good dad. You know, he loved us. He was present. Was he perfect? No. But there were some things that were critical for me that I didn't get. And this is not me bashing my dad. You know, I love my dad and I've forgiven my dad for many things. And we've talked openly about many things, and maybe I'll talk to you about that in the future. But there was critical times in my upbringing where I needed clear masculine guidance to help me psychologically balance the books, is how I like to call it. You know, when mum's trying to mollycoddle you, when mum is being the nurturer, when mum's being mum, dad needs to be dad. Your father needs to be your father, to teach you how to think as a man, how to balance your thoughts, and how to behave, how to show up as a man. And when you don't have that, it can really, really cause issues. And then when you compound that with the fact that we grew up in a generation whereby, you know, the rise of feminism, you know, it's a kind of like a femme-centric society where I feel as if women grew up in a society where they don't have to take as much accountability as men do. If you compound that by the fact that most of my teachers in school were ladies, you know, on the surface it doesn't sound like a negative thing, but when there's no masculine balance there, you're learning how to place women on a pedestal. You're learning how to appease to the women, and we're going to get to how that impacted me in dating. Going back to the home situation, you know, I had a situation at home whereby there were clear instances of mum's the good cop, dad is the bad cop. And for me, what that did was it made me see mum as the be all and end all, and dad as there's something deep down wrong with dad, which grew into there's something deep down wrong with masculinity. I saw things, I was very empathetic to my mum's story, naturally, right? Because I did see her done wrong by my dad on many occasions, right? I'm going to be open with you guys. But at the same time, that wasn't balanced. There's always two sides or three sides to a story. And when you are just seeing things from your mum's point of view, you will, as a man, see things from a feminine point of view. And I think guys that maybe grew up around sisters or didn't have male role models also suffer with this problem. So these are all things that I was dealing with. So then you fast forward now and you go into school, right? And I went to a boys' school. So again, after primary school, it was just boys, right? So girls were something like an alien to me. All I saw in terms of girls was movies. And you know what movies tell you? Movies tell you to be a simp, right? Remember Hitch? Remember all these stories, right? They tell you to be a simp. They tell you to chase. They tell you to have all these things. So I had this kind of Cinderella mindset of women are angels. Women are these, they can't do no wrong. My mum can't do no wrong, right? It's the man that always gets caught cheating. It's the man that's always X, Y, and Z, right? So these are all the things that I was dealing with. This was all shaping my mindset. No girl interaction for many years going to a boys' school. So I was becoming more and more disfamiliar with the true nature of a woman. Being taught by women, right? Now introduced to pornography at like, what, 13, 14? I think most of you guys can relate to that. You're probably introduced by some guy in school. You think it's harmless. You do it. Well, I did it. And I'll tell you what, guys, I watched pornography from the first time probably around 13, and I stopped around 27. How many years ago? Is that 14 years? Now, if you told me at 27 you've got an addiction, I would have probably told you, or at 26 that you've got an addiction, I would have been like, well, no. But when you do the math and you really deep it, what kind of damage is that going to cause? So for 14 years of my adult childhood going into adulthood, critical years of shaping my mindset, my manhood, I'm doing that. And I think about all the things that I could have been doing with my time at that age to develop myself, things that could have fed me. Instead, I was releasing my vital seed. I was releasing my vital energy, and furthermore placing women on this kind of pedestal, because that's what you're doing when you're watching pornography. First off, what you're saying is that I can't manage my sexual energy. I can't be disciplined over it. And I need this so much that I have to lock myself in a room and masturbate and watch porn over and over and over again, because I need this so much. We're going to talk about shame in a bit. Maybe now. I developed so much shame. And I realized growing up that I was so awkward around girls, and I couldn't understand why it was. And when girls were introduced to me, you know, I'm not the ugliest guy, so I guess on the surface you may be able to attract, but then you realize that there's a block, right? There's a block. You can be as handsome, you can be an athlete, you can be rich, I don't care who you are. If you haven't sorted out your masculinity, you'll always struggle when it comes to women. So I was placing women on this pedestal. I was idolizing them so much through repetition and idolatry of this porn watching and masturbation over and over again. I couldn't understand why there was a block between me and women. I got into a couple relationships early on, sixth form, uni. I didn't understand why it was going the way it was going. Now, because of my nature, I never really attracted a woman that would outright disrespect me in a crazy way. Because I just don't flow, I just don't go with that. But was there disrespect at times? Yes. Was I going along with things that I shouldn't have? Yes. And did those women truly respect me or trust me as a man? I don't think so, looking back. Actually, I would say no. And pornography had a big part to play in that. Because what I was doing when I was watching porn, guys, and if you're still watching porn, or if you want to know why you need to stop watching porn, these are some of the reasons why. Number one, it dissipates your masculine energy. Your seed, your sperm, is your God-given masculine energy. It's what God gave you to surge your masculinity, to drive. That inner drive, that vitality in you to go out and achieve, and to be a man, and to lead a home, and all this kind of stuff. That's what that seed is made of. It's also seed that's meant to duplicate a whole new version of you in recreation, in procreation. Now imagine all of that, what must go into it. I think there's a I can't remember what it is, but it says that there's like I think like pints of blood or something like that. So many pints of blood in one drop of sperm. It's packed with nutrients, with zinc, with magnesium, with potassium, with all these vital nutrients that it needs to create a whole new version of you. And what happens is that when you dissipate that, all of that energy is going, which is the reason why a lot of you may feel, if you're still watching pornography, you have no energy for your goals. You can't go to the gym. You can't speak your mind. Let's go back to that thing about relationships. I couldn't speak my mind, or I couldn't call out things that were disrespectful or that I wasn't happy with, because I wasn't keeping my vital juice. But another thing, because I was placing women on such a pedestal sexually, deep down I entered those relationships for sex. That's all I really, really wanted. And what that does is that you go into the relationship with the wrong foundation, not on, like, you're not thinking there, you're thinking down there. So you're not trying to attract a woman because of values or anything that goes deeper than the surface. You're going for superficial things and for lust, and that will never build a foundation. Your relationship will always crack. It will always crack, man. And what will happen is that you won't be able, for me, you may get into a relationship with a woman, you're trying to change her because you got in there for the wrong reason. You got in for lust. Or you'll get into a relationship and because you haven't dealt with your sexual energy, you're not disciplined, that affects your manhood. So your ability to lead now is compromised, because all she needs to do is manipulate you, willingly or unwillingly or unknowingly, with sex. And because of that, you can't challenge her. You can't be the man in the relationship. You can't lead because you're scared of losing her, because you're scared of losing the vagina. And that's compounded by the fact that you're a chronic porn watcher and masturbator. You've placed that on an idol, on a pedestal. You've placed sex on a pedestal. And that's a big, big problem, right? And it was only at 27 when I began to understand these things. So I'd be in these relationships and not really understand. I knew something deep down was wrong. I knew that the dynamic was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it. So anyway, these relationships ended, of course, and I'm now in a relationship now. I'm due to be married, guys, right? The way I'm now in a marriage is so much different, or with the woman that I'm going to marry, with Donna, it's so different to where I was before. I'm a completely different man. But I had to stop watching porn. I had to stop masturbating. I had to stop releasing that energy. I had to stop doing that, because doing those things were compounding the nice guy in me. It was compounding the weak man in me, the one that didn't have the motivation to follow through, because all my energy was going elsewhere, into a tissue. Imagine that, guys. Here's another thing that really got me. I had to deep it one time. I think I was listening to somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they were saying, you're a simp right now because you are watching another man pound this women that you can't get, or even if you feel like you can get women, you're watching another man pound this woman, all because you can't control your discipline. So you need to watch another man do this. When I really deeped that, I thought to myself, oh no, I can't go out like that. This is where we need to draw a line. Because I was sick and tired of being in broken relationships. I was sick and tired of a weird energy with girls. And that's another thing. Girls, when they don't trust you, women are gifted supernaturally. They are gifted, covertly, which means that they can sense things before we can. They can sense emotions. They can sense your strength as a man. They can scan you. And they can sense whether you're somebody that that you can trust. And sometimes, for the most part, they have this innate ability. When you watch porn, when you masturbate, they can sense that you can't control your sexual energy, so you come across weird, so they can't trust you. And you got to think to yourself, does a king move like that? Does a king move in a way that is so ravenous for sex that he can't control himself? Or does a king move in a way that he has control over himself? He has master over his sexual energy. He's not focused on sex or women, he's focused on being a king. But women want to be with him. The woman wants to be with him. The queen wants to be with him, and he chooses his queen intelligently. Which one are you right now? Are you the king, or are you the simp that can't control himself, that's deep in this mess and still trying to get sex from women? Because women will see you and feel that you're weird. They'll feel that energy from you. They'll feel that creepy energy. You know, have you ever realized when women say, oh, this guy's really creepy or whatever? It's that. They can sense when you watch porn. They can sense when you don't have this sexual discipline over yourself. And it affects everything else, right? It affects your money. It affects your ability to do things. It affects your ability to go to the gym, to start a business, right? It affects your ability to speak up. It affects your ability to show up as a man, because all your vital energy is being dissipated. Here's another thing as well. When you hold on to your seed, we're going to go on some of the benefits. When you hold on to your seed, guys, like I said, it's vital nutrients, and you don't dissipate it. Guess what happens? God is so good. Those nutrients start to get reabsorbed by the body. I think it's after about 90 days or so, those nutrients start to get reabsorbed by the body, you know? What's going on, guys? Apologies, I had a meeting and I had to rush back home from my happy place. But I want to talk to you and wrap up this video because I know it's getting very long. I don't want it to be too long, but I remember I was talking about the benefits, right? You reabsorbing all that energy. And what happens is that now all of those nutrients go back into the body. They start to heal you on a cellular level, you know? They start to regenerate you, your mind, your eyes, because your eyes are directly linked to testicles. So where you wouldn't be able to have a good confident stare as a man, you would be able to look people in the eye instead of looking down. You'd be able to look people in the eye. You'd be able to look a woman in the eye. You'd be able to confidently express your interest without being creepy or weird, but it will come across pure. Skin will glow again, hair will grow, but also, like I said, you will have the energy and the vitality to show up in ways. You've got to transmute, and we're probably going to talk about this in another video, but if you're trying to quit pornography and masturbation, that energy has to go somewhere. That drive has to go somewhere into something that's going to pour back into you. And for me, that was, you know, developing my relationship with Christ again and truly getting closer to God. Because one thing that I've found is that when you cut that away, when you cut that release, when you cut masturbation and porn and sex and all that kind of stuff, you have no choice but to get closer to God. And that's what I did. Prayer became a daily thing in my life, because without prayer, you can't do this alone by your own flesh. You need the Most High to guide you and to teach you and to give you the grace and the wisdom, you know, because you may fall, but a righteous man falls but gets up again. So put God first. Pray. Read the word. Let the word be in you. Put your energy into something. Go into the gym. You'll be able to build more muscle and recoup your muscles a lot easier when you're not dissipating your vital energy, right? That business that you always wanted to start that, right? Or go harder at your work. Put your energy into something productive, and I promise you, your life will change. And those tendencies that you once had or that have been dealing with, whether it's being too nice, being weak-minded, or not, you know, being strong in your masculine energy, all of those things will go away. For me, I really put that energy into these things and dealing with my traumas, dealing with the traumas that I had at home, fixing the narrative that I had between masculine and feminine, and, you know, understanding, yes, that my parents went through things and my mum was a victim, but also understanding my dad's journey, forgiving him and healing my relationship with him so that I healed my relationship with the masculine. And so I was able to fully emerge with all the healthy masculine traits. Instead of demonizing masculinity, I started to to heal that and understand that in order to have a healthy relationship with a woman, to lead a woman, to be a healthy father, I need to fully embrace the godly masculine. And I wasn't doing that before, right? I was seeing everything from a female perspective, and that was coming through in my behavior, right? So these are all things as a man that you need to go through and you need to fix and heal, but you need to stop the masturbation. You need to stop watching porn. You need to stop allowing evil spirits into your life, because it's a gateway, it's a door. I truly believe that. Whenever you release, you're allowing evil spirits to enter into your home. Whenever you watch that content, you're allowing Satan legal access into your life. And that can cause so much disruption. And you don't want that. You don't want that for yourself. So for me, this is what and how masturbation was making me a simp, compounding me into being a simp. And when I stopped those things, the masculine could really appear. I could heal the boy in me, and I could see things with balance, and I could change and heal things by the grace of God in my life. And listen, no one's perfect, of course. And there are still things today that I was a continual journey of working on. But by God's grace, I can now say it's been 7 years now since I last watched pornography and masturbated, and my life has only ever improved. Guys, your life will only ever improve. If you have broken relationships with women, things will improve. If things aren't moving in your life, that will start to change. But for God to work with you, you need to be a clean vessel, man. And you need to stop all those things. And that's one of the first things that we need to stop. So I don't know, man. I just wanted to say that, and I hope that it can resonate with you. And if you've made it this far, I know it's been a long video. I didn't want it to be so long, but if you've made it this far, I hope that it resonated with you. I really do. Man or woman, you know. And if you want me to talk about this or any other thing relating to this topic, let me know, guys, and I'll be more than happy to add this as a playlist to the other content that I'm putting out on this channel. All right, guys. So listen, God bless. Yeshua is King, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace.